Hi, this is Everett. Good evening. This is Everett's Watercolors, and I'm also this is Simply Drawing with Everett, and I'm broadcasting live from uh, my studio to LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and later on to Instagram. And in my studio with my wife Gloria tonight,
Hello, everybody. We're just having a good time tonight.
and she'll be monitoring the broadcast and also checking the chat room. The chat room is live, so if you have any questions or comments during the broadcast, put them down there on the comments section, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. And after the video, if you have a comment, you can put them in the comments below in this video. And if this is the first time you've seen this program, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. It helps with my rating. I appreciate that. Now tonight I'm going to do drawing, and of course I'm going to pick a nice selection of what I like. So I'm going to, and I hope this will give you a little help on building, on drawing buildings and so forth, and also how to set it up. So I'm going to go to my overhead camera. Okay, well, this is the subject matter tonight: buildings. But this is a special building. This building here, you can see it's a building here. It's an old firehouse. It's been there a long time, but then there's been added extensions all over the place here. So it's a very interesting configuration of building structures. So I thought that'd make an interesting drawing tonight and show you how to get started. I'm going to have several pencils over. I'm going to start with the HB pencil. Then I'll move up to a darker pencil. HB, it's a number 2 pencil, basically a regular pencil, but that'll give me I'll start with a nice light drawing. Now I'm going to begin here, right here at this part of the building, right here in the middle. Start at the top, and I'm going to locate myself on my paper, and I have to decide my scale. And that, if you look at the photograph, you see this is about halfway. From here to here is halfway. So that's about the halfway point there. So I'm going to come over a little bit more to here, halfway mark, and I'm going to put that right there in the middle. I'm going to start here at the top, and I'm going to come down. That's going to be that side right there. And I'm going to go ahead and put the rooftop in. It's got a slight angle to it, about maybe 15 degrees. And then I'm going to do the back part of that roof, and I'll darken this in later on. You'll see a little bit more detail. So I'm getting the rooftop into this building here. Then I'm going to come down the front side, the front edge of this one. And also this angle here has just got a slightly, it's not as steep as that, but it's still got a little upgrade. Maybe 5 degrees. It's not level. And this has a sharper angle here. All right, now we're going to look at the front part of this rooftop, and it's got a pretty good size. It's about, estimating about 45 degrees. Maybe 30 degrees. So go out there this way. This one will come up. I've got the rooftop out there. They'll go up a little bit higher. So I'm going to make a little correction on that. And you notice the back side of the roof is further down. It's not exactly the same, so it's going to come down at an angle. It's a little bit steeper over here. So I'm using a little bit of configuration, looking at the drawing, and it's just doing my estimate here of the size. Rooftop, then I'll come down to this far side. So I'm roughing this in now with my HB. Now this, the top of this roof here, it's got a slight angle. Not exactly, it goes down, it slants down a little bit. It's in perspective. We're looking at this from an angle. And then the rooftop here, I'll get that in. Let's see, it comes down, slopes down, it comes down. It goes, you can notice this wall is just short of this wall over here, so it comes about right there. And then I can bring that down. Okay, and then the other side of the rooftop is over here. And this is almost, now this is just about almost level here. So I'm going to make this a level line. and the far wall comes down. And this, I'm going to estimate the size here is about the size of that one. And then this angles up. Because the horizon, I can mark the horizon, it's about right here. I'll draw that line in right there. And that line will go all the way across. We'll worry about that a little bit later. Okay, now I'll come down and extend this wall here. Now I'm going to eliminate, I'm not going to put a lot of this detail. I'm just going to get the building. Just the building structure. The walls and the rooftops. Okay, and this one comes down and it has a slight angle coming out. You can see I'm building these sections a little piece at a time. And so far I've got the top section of the building, and I've got this little extension over here to the right. Now, I'll darken this in a little bit later, but I want you to see where I am. I've got this part and this part. Now I'll get this little side front here. This rooftop slides down here, slopes down. Estimating that angle. And the other side, this one is extended, it goes past. And it also slopes down. Then I can put that rooftop in. Then I put this side in. And that will angle back also. It goes back slightly. Just like this side over here, this will angle back to this corner. And then I can bring this side down. And this slopes forward. We're looking at it in perspective, so this will be the longer edge out here. Now we'll make some final inspection and correction before we go any further. Now this back wall is not. This goes up here about halfway. This back rooftop here, halfway. It slopes down. I'll just start that line. I'll finish it up in a little while. Let's see. I'll get that started. Now let's complete this one here. I've got this one here. Now I'm going to build it. I'm going to build on this rooftop here. This rooftop here on this long section right here. Okay. So I will start here at the top. It's in the middle of this building, and it's going to go out, and it slopes up. It slopes up. So I'll get a reference line in there, at least a rough line.
We're getting a noise from your...
Yeah, I'm hitting the board here. I'm sorry. I've got this laying on a panel, and so hope that doesn't interfere with your presentation. This slopes down here, intersects with that roof, and then this roof here is almost it slopes up a little bit. It slopes up a little bit. Let me get that in there. Up to about now. I'm looking at the distance of that compared to that. Okay, and I can bring this down. I'll bring this wall down. And there's a little corner right here at this building. Let me get that in. I'll put that in a little bit better than that. Okay. Now this bottom here slopes down. Slopes down. So I'm going to start that. In this corner, I'm going to slope it down a little bit. That's because this corner is closer than this. This is the furthest point away on the building that we see. So it's going to be the shortest part right there. Okay. Now let's get this end of the building over here. Slope this up a little bit. And I'll slope it down. Get that angle in there. And forget the bush. I'm just going to put the back wall, and this would This would naturally go back. And then you can see the other part of the horizon. If I drew a straight line across here, that would put the horizon right here. So we got the horizon line marked across the building. There it is right there on the left side. Okay, let me do a quick inspection here to see if I like, there's back, this one here, this would intersect, yeah, there's a rooftop back there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rooftops. I've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rooftops. So I think that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and get the rooftops in. Let me double check my sizes now, see if I like it with it. We'll start here. Get this. This slopes down. Okay, this comes down. This would go back. Come down. I think what I'll do, I'll use a darker pencil. Let's see. I'll use a 2B now. I'll use a 2B and darken up these lines a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm just outlining the edges now so that I have a good contour drawing of the object. Contour drawing. Now by using the HB pencil, I was just getting like a kind of gesture drawing, which is like just getting a rough estimate. Now I'm doing a contour drawing. I'm really looking at the edges again, double checking the size and the angles, and I'm darkening them in. So this is the contour. And this is very important when you make a drawing, is to get the right angles and the right shapes. And this one comes down this way. So this is the front, this is the highest or the closest wall. Right here, this corner here is the closest wall. This would come down here. That's the corner. And this will slopes down a little bit on this little extension. There's another corner over here. And this slopes up because going back in perspective, it's going to go up toward the horizon line. The horizon line's right there. Then this rooftop is almost not quite straight. It's got just a slight angle to it because the horizon line's there. If you're aware of the horizon line, you'll know that things go down. If they're above the horizon, they start sloping down. If they're below the horizon, they start sloping up as you go away. So that's a good key to double check your angles. And this last part was let me double check here. I like that. That comes down. This front wall intersects with this corner. It's a nice big wall. The rooftop looks good. The angle. The slope of this roof. The slope here. This angle here looks good. That could be just a little bit higher, not too much. Just okay. So I've got the I've got the contour. Now I've got the contour of the building. Okay. I've got all five rooftops, and I'm going to go ahead and put the chimney in. I like that. So I'm going to put in I've got a lot of horizontals going, so I'll put some verticals in. So I'm going to go in here, and this chimney goes up. It's pretty high. And there's 3 sides to it I can show. I can show this, the right side. There's the front side I'm facing. Not too wide now. Don't make it too big. And this one slopes. This part slopes up. This one slopes down. There's a little top to it. Okay, that's good enough. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shade in the rooftops. I think that's the next thing. So I'm going to use this shading pencil, which is a black wing, which is about a 4B. I'm going to go ahead and put in I'm going to darken in the rooftops. I'll start over here on this smaller section on the left. And all the rooftops are dark, so I'm going to go ahead and put those all in. This one over here slopes down. Get these in pretty quickly. And get this other small rooftop down here. This one slopes up now because here's the front part of this roof. Front part of this section here extends out this way. So this is a good exercise in drawing angles and sizes, looking at it from different angles, and give it some depth now. We're putting some depth. This little rooftop over here, I'm going to exaggerate this a little bit more than what it is. I'm going to show a little bit more of the roof. Get a little more darker. Then up and back here, this is there's a little bit of the building here, so there's a little eave right here. And then this is dark behind this building. So I got some darks and lights here, which is good. That's kind of why when I looked at this, I said, boy, there's an interesting little configuration here. Not only just the shapes of the building sections, but also the black and white. They got the black rooftops against the white buildings, sides. And up here I'm going to just go around this chimney. So far we've done the contour drawing, and now we put in the shadow, or not the shadow, but the darkness of the rooftops. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this chimney, I'm going to put it not quite as dark as the roof. Make it like a little, so I'm putting a little less pressure on the pencil, so there's less graphite going down on the. All right. Okay. Now what I'll do, I'm going to go back now with it. I'll use the. I'll use a 4B, I think. I'll use a 4B. And I'm going to go ahead and put the windows in now, and that's the next interesting thing. There's two windows over here on this side. So kind of locate them. 1, 2, and they come down. Comparing it with the sides there, and it slopes up. Go further apart. There's two windows over here, so whoop! I go over here. The window's about the same height on the. And I'll show you how I did that in a second. I come up here parallel, hit the corner. Now I slope down. That's where the window is. It puts them at the same height. When I go around the corner, that's how I do it. Up this way, and then down this way. And then I just estimate the distance between the windows. There's another window way over here in the corner. It's further away, so it's a little bit smaller. Then there's one right up here in the middle, right up here in the top. I'll put that in. Okay, now I come down, there's a window here on the side. That's about in the middle. It's not quite exactly in the middle, so it's a little bit back. Even off with this. Compare with that side there. Always get comparison. We do a contour drawing, you're comparing a location with other parts of the drawing. And there's one over here on this side. Now forget the bush. And there's a little doorway over here at the end. I'll put that in. A little doorway there. Now this side there's a doorway here. I see it, and it's just equal this window up here. So I'll put that right in here. So estimate its position from the top of that window up here. I'll put it here. Now this window here is right at the corner. Equal to the corner, so I'll put a little window in here, and it's pretty big. And it comes almost to the bottom, and this one here is way off in the corner here. There's a window right here. Now I can forget that little bush. I'm going to draw around the bush. Okay, I got a little window over here, which is, if I look at the intersection of this section here, a window is right below, and it's a smaller window, and it goes right up against the top of the eave there. And then this is about the center of the building. I'll come in. There's a doorway here. Get that in. Forget that bush. There's one more window out here. A lot of windows in this old building here. And there's two little windows over here on the edge. So I'm going to come around the corner here and I'll put those in. There's two little windows here. Okay. All right. So I got the windows in. So now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do some more shading. Okay. I'm hitting this board here, and it's just, if you hear that noise, that's all I'm doing. I'm just clicking on the noise, and it's just the way I'm putting pressure on the pencil. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to take the 2B pencil. Now I'm going to estimate. Now here's what I do. I'm going to put the photograph doesn't have, the sun's over here, but wasn't really as bright as I wanted it. I've been out there some days where the sun really is coming through there early in the morning. So I'm going to indicate over here, and I'm going to make a little circle, and I'm just going to make a reference here. Up here in the top, I got the sun shining this way on the building. So that gives me the direction of light, which means the light's going to hit this side, but over here it's going to be in shadow. So I'm going to shade this side over a little bit using a 2B pencil. I'm going to put a little shadow on this window on this side over here. Now this is where we start putting a little bit of dimension on the building. Okay, a little dimension. Okay, and the light's going to come. It's going to hit this side, and this side's going to be in shadow here. Now, so if you have a good reference, a photograph, and you can put the shadow. But I'm estimating now the light coming this way, and I'm making up the light shadow. This will be a little bit lighter. This will be in shadow over here. So I'm shading in a little bit with a light pencil, a 2B with low pressure, little pressure on it. And this whole side over here now is going to be in shadow because the light's hitting this way. This section here is going to be in shadow. Now, what's interesting now is what I'm going to do now is that with this light coming across here, this rooftop is going to cast a shadow on this wall here partially. So I'm going to come down and I'm going to draw in a estimated shadow that's about 2/3, over half of this side here. At least to cover 2/3 of this window. So that's the cast shadow from this rooftop. Cast shadow, this is the shaded side. This is the shade that's out of light. But now the cast shadow from over here from this rooftop is hitting this side. And there's going to be a cast shadow here on this rooftop on this side. So I'm going to put in a little shadow on this section over here. A little cast shadow over here. And there's going to be a cast shadow on the ground. This section, let's start with the back here. There's going to be a shadow here on the ground from this part of the building. So there'll be a shadow here. On this wall. And it's going to, that cast shadow matches that one. Then this one's going to have a shadow here on the ground. And there'll be a cast shadow on this section over here from this side of the building. Okay, so what I've done there is I've shaded in with the light coming this way. This is the light side. This is the shadow side. This one here has a half shadow because I've got the shadow from this side here. This is in shadow, cast shadow on this wall. This wall here is in shadow, a cast shadow on the ground. There's a cast shadow on the ground here. Then this side's going to be in shadow, and there'll be a cast shadow on this wall over here. So that's kind of playing around with the light. Okay. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'll take my blending pencil, and I'm going to go in. I'm going to darken in some of this. So a blending stump. I'm going to go in, and now I'm going to. This smooths out the pencil marks. This smooths out the shading. when you first put it down, it's kind of like a rough application, but then the blender will smooth it out nicely. And you can go back over and do this again, but just this is the first pass. This also, there's a bit of darker shadow on this side of the chimney. And this rooftop over here, I'm going to do that one. Okay. Now I'm going to take just a very light pressure and get this shadow with the blender. And now I'm putting less pressure now on these this light. This is a 2B light I used on the shadow pattern. So it shouldn't be as dark as the rooftop. But I want to smooth it out a little bit. Just smooth it out a bit. And a little bit up here on the top. Okay, and I want to little white area up here. That's the chimney up there. Okay. Now the last thing I want to do, and this is something I really wanted to show you tonight. This is ink, and what it is, it's acrylic ink, which is waterproof. And if I was going to do a painting with this, and I was going to color it in, then I would use waterproof. Now these are dip pens. And I love them. And what I do here, I just load it up with paint. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline the windows more with this dip pen. And I think this really puts a real little final touches on the doorway. And I love to draw with ink pens. And this dip pen is another way to draw. There's windows over here. And a doorway here. This doorway is not that very evident, but still is a doorway there. Then the windows up here. So I think this really puts a little more detail on the building by highlighting the window edges. And if you look at the photograph, they got quite a bit of dark edges on them. So I thought that would be appropriate in this particular drawing. There's a little doorway back here. Okay, now so the dip pen is really a lot of fun to play with, and I just put one. I filled up one pen length, and we did it. Now I'm going to take what I'm going to do now. I'm going to take the 2B, and there's some shading in these windows. So what I'm going to do here now, let's pretend that if you look at the photograph, you'll see half the window, some are dark and light. There's some dark and lights up here. So I'm just going to fill that in. These are like little details now. These windows have parts to them, panels and so forth. And let's say a window up the top here. I'll put one at the top. That's in shadow. And this one up here, I'll do the same thing. So I'm shading in the window to show the a little bit of. And again, you could spend more time on putting this in. Now, this one up here had to be dark all the way through. These windows here were shaded in all the way, so I'm just kind of filling them all in with a little shadow.
Is that for adding dimension?
It's also adding interest. The question was, is adding dimension? Well, it not necessarily dimension. It just adds a little more attraction to that shape. The real dimension comes in the shading of the sides, because this shows that this wall here is in front of this wall, and this section is in front over here because of the shadow pattern and the shadow hitting the ground. Okay. Okay. Well, that's as far as I want to go tonight. You could add in a roadway in here and so forth and other thing, and I could go back over this and darken in some of the sections. But I think you get the idea now of taking a photograph or picture, or if you're out there on location. I did this I did this on location. Just go out there with a pencil and a piece of paper and draw what I saw on location. That's a lot of fun too. And then you can see here from the drawing, and I estimated the sunlight coming from this side. I'm getting a three-dimensional look of that particular building, of all the angles and sizes and shapes. Okay, let's go back to my main camera. Okay, Everett's Watercolors and Simply Drawing Whatever had a good time tonight. A lot of fun. I love drawing buildings, and buildings are fairly easy, and the more practice you do with them, the better you get at it. With this building here, you can see all the different angles and shapes and sizes, and that's what I like. You know, you want something that's got a little bit of contrast, not only in values, but also in angles. And I think if you take that photograph, what I just showed you on the screen, you can draw this up and have a lot of fun with it. So I'll be back again next week at 7:30 p.m. on Eastern Standard Time with another Simply Drawing with Everett. I'll be back on Thursday at 2 o'clock with Everett's Watercolors, the demonstration. And over the weekend I do a one-time only. Anyone can draw one time with one line only. I'll put that out on Sunday. So you might enjoy watching that. Okay? Now, if you have... okay, one more thing Gloria just reminded me. I also do a walk and sketch journal. And what I do is on my walk days, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I go out with my sketch pad and pencil, and I'll sit down for 10 or 15 minutes and do a quick sketch. And I've been putting that sketches into a journal. And someday I'll pull those out and show you my sketchbook. I think that'll be one whole lesson right there to show you a sketchbook and the different things that can be done and so forth. That might be an interesting topic all by itself. And that's down the road, I'll show you my sketchbook. So until next week, you all stay safe and try a drawing of a building. Go outside and draw your own house. Go across the street and draw your neighbor's house. It doesn't matter. Just pick a building and start drawing it. I think you'll have a lot of fun. And go out. It's more fun outdoors to do it. Take your chair with you or stand there on the corner or sit on a bench and do some drawing, do some sketching. And the more you do, the better you'll get at it. I guarantee. So you all stay safe, and I'll see you next week on the next live. Until then, bye.